today is the day of discussion in the Rajya Sabha. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will be leading the government's charge in the Rajya Sabha. In fact, the BJP President, Mr. JP Nadda, will also be speaking in the Rajya Sabha today. In all, 14 women MPs and ministers from the BJP will speak. 2 women MPs from the scheduled caste and 3 from OBC will be speaking. Let me bring in Sunil Prabhu now on the phone line. So Sunil, it's the day, the final day, and Rajya Sabha will pass it and it will become a reality. But interestingly, if you look at the list that is out of those who will be speaking, the BJP is also trying to say clearly that this is about the OBCs and they do not want the OBC narrative to be hijacked by the opposition.
Well, it's difficult, the OBC issue, of course, will have to be dependent on the caste census. And as the Home Minister said yesterday, after the 2024 elections, the caste census enumeration will start. And hopefully, once that data is published, they will go to the next step of doing the Delimitation Act. So much will depend on that. But definitely, the opposition has put, and this is the big change from 2010, where the Congress had consistently said we will look at OBC issues at a later stage. Yesterday, and of course they've done it earlier too, made that subtle change to demand for OBC reservation for women, and it's in that backdrop that they want the caste census to take place. So a huge debate in Parliament and definitely a big issue of concern. But nevertheless, the fact is that each one is playing OBC politics at this present juncture because it's election time, and this is all about, as we've been pointed out, whether this is a post-dated check or not. It's a big day for women, for women's movements, for women leaders who have been fighting and striving to get this constitutional amendment passed. Now there's mere unanimity. It's taken 30 years for India to finally give women their basic rights in terms of electoral representation. And it's in that context we'll have to wait and see once the president signs in the next, hopefully if it's passed today, then by tomorrow or day after, it will become an act and the constitutional amendment will become a part of the constitution, quite a historic moment.
And Sunil, in all, how many MPs will speak today, and by when can we expect the voting to take place?
So a 7-hour discussion is slated. Of course, as many of our viewers are well aware, the quality of debate in the Rajya Sabha usually goes to a much higher level. Not that it isn't in the Lok Sabha, but definitely with the House of Elders, we definitely get huge and good important constitutional points. As you saw from the BJP, from the Treasury benches, apart from Mr. JP Nadda and Nirmala Sitharaman, there are a host of women to speak. In the same way, the Congress will be, as well as the other opposition parties, will be putting their women MPs to speak and to ensure that they give and talk about what it is to be, the passage of a constitutional amendment, something that has been demanded for years, and because of the fact that it failed consensus, it is finally being done. So I would really urge our viewers to continue to watch the proceedings, which will hopefully bring in a much better debate and a quality of debate in the House of the Elders.
Sunil, before I let you go, a quick word. Yesterday it was Sonia Gandhi who was leading the opposition charge. What about the Rajya Sabha? Who will be the face of the opposition today?
Well, usually the leader of the House, the leader of the opposition starts and speaks, just as Mr. Arun Jaitley did in 2010. We haven't yet been given the schedule. But either way, it's a historic moment. It really is not about who speaks today. It's about the mere unanimity that we have got in terms of bipartisan support. This bill, as I said, has traveled over 3 decades, and it's really a great day for India to see bipartisan support, and no less than the Prime Minister yesterday taking that lead, thanking MPs across party lines for that bipartisan support, because that's how you play and do constitutional amendments. That's the way, the nature of how bills should be passed, to get bipartisan support, to get mere unanimity, and then agree. Yes, there might be issues about the fact that it's a post-dated check, that it's linked to a much later stage. But even then, the fact that we are reserving 33% for women is definitely a historic step.
All right, Sunil Prabhu, thank you so much. Let me bring in Vasudha as well. Vasudha, so it's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman who will speak first in the Rajya Sabha on behalf of the government. But the BJP also fielding its women MPs from the OBC community to ensure that the OBC narrative, which we are seeing increasingly built in this women's reservation demand, is also countered.
Absolutely, Maria. Remember, interviewed Nirmala Sitharaman recently, and she had very strong views on this is something that she spoke about extensively in that interview as well. And yesterday we saw Kanimozhi of DMK speaking very vocally and talking about Periyar and bringing out the difference between Dravidian and Hindutva ideologies. And that is something I'm hoping to see Nirmala Sitharaman take on. And she basically will definitely do that, because even in the no confidence motion we saw her doing that. So this whole north-south divide, this delimitation is also something that southern states have been extremely wary of. So I think that is one thing that she would be wanting to. That yesterday's discussion was centered around who is the best for OBC communities, and that is something the BJP will not be opposition to take center stage on, because we all know that BJP has extensively pushed the OBC agenda, right? So that is something that they will basically push. So a lot of SEST and of course OBC female MPs will be there. But let me also tell you that yesterday when we were speaking to a senior minister, and I asked him, why did you have to, why did you deploy Nishikant Dubey to speak? You could have started with a woman, speaker. And he said very specifically it was a very conscious decision, because we want a participatory democracy where males speak equally for women, and we want males advocating for women's issues as well. We don't want to see women's issues as isolated gender, issues, matters. So that is why it's going to be, I think, a mix of men and women. But Nirmala Sitharaman, JP Nadda among speakers, and Nirmala Sitharaman's speech will be sort of be watched.